Hello everyone, this is Dr. Lennon, and I wanted to walk you through the first nonlinear optimization problem. So let's take a look at that problem right here. So basically we have S representing amount of steel produced based on labor usage and capital usage. And there's the function here that we want to minimize, which gives us our objective function, S equals 15 times L to the 0.4 power times C to the 0.6 power. And it says let L represents the units of labor and C units of capital. Cost of labor is 40 per unit and 100 per unit for capital. So the optimization problem, they give us the function. So we want to minimize 40 times L plus 100 times C. I've already checked these answers. So that's how you get the total cost. 40 times the number of labor units plus 100 times the number of capital units. And then we want to the constraint required here is that the steel produced given by this function 15 times L to the 0.4 times C to the 0.6 power has to equal 55,000. And then both these constraints need to be non-negative. So let's see how I set that up in the old spreadsheet. Well, I basically set up a cost, a units, a cost per unit, and a total cost. So I always start with the dummy variables 1 and 1. And then the cost per unit, how did I get that? Let's look at the formulas I put in. Well, let's remember that the cost per unit was 40 for labor and 100 for capital. So the way you get the total cost is you just do B2 times C2, and then you can fill down and get B2 times C3. And then if you just take the sum of these things, that's going to be your total cost. Excuse me. So when you do the solver and you want to minimize, that's the cell you want to minimize D4. And then down here in on this cell we see that it's a little bit, maybe I need to make it a little wider. So we see that we're just putting in the function that is giving the steel cost 15 times B2 raised to the 0.4 times B3 raised to the 0.6, and we want to include the constraint that says that has to be 55,000 in this scenario. So we go to solver and we solve it by setting the objective function to the total cost. We change the ones where we put dummy variables. It's really important that you use 1 and 1 to start, because if you use something too big or with possibly negative values or 0 or anything like that, it will just give you a solution that MineTap's not going to accept. It'll be off by just a little bit. And then I again required that B2 and B3 be greater than or equal to 0. I think clicking this make unconstrained variables non-negative accounts for that as well. And then B6, we set that equal. This steel production needs to be $55,000. And now, last chapter we were doing the simplex linear programming, but this is a nonlinear programming problem because the steel function is clearly nonlinear, right? We have 0.4 power and 0.6 power, which is not linear. It's a more complicated two-variable problem. So then we just go ahead and click solve, and one thing you want to do is, let me go back to the formulas. Somehow this isn't displaying. So maybe they're just not wide enough. Okay, so there we go. Since it requires that the answer is in 2 decimal places, what you may want to do is, just round, select the format cells option. And when you go to number, you can say, okay, I want to have 3 decimal places. You can change the number of decimal places you get. I put it on 3. That way I could see what to round to for 2. And you can see basically down here 4,981.82 is what I got from this cell B2. B3 was 2,989.01. And the total cost is this 498,173 point. Somehow this got 5.6. It slightly altered. Somehow this is slightly under rounded too. But the first time I did it, I got just a little bit different here. That's interesting. Let me try and run the solver again and see if I get the same thing. Like I said, sometimes it just Alright, so right minimum function, we want this one, B6 equal to 55,000. GRG nonlinear, hit solver, and Yeah. Okay, so these two check out. And then for some reason, this one is off by 3 cents now, but the first time I did it, I got 0.53, so I'm not exactly sure what happened there. But this is the setup, and this is what I ended up with. So hopefully that helps you out, and if you have any problems with rounding or anything like that, just let me know, and I can try and take a look. So thanks.